Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're all doing very well today, and we are going to play, for the first time ever on this channel, Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger in Modern Jund. I'm really excited about it. I think this card's going to be pretty sweet. I'm going to give you a very brief 1-minute deck tech, and then we are going to play a Modern League. But first, I gotta show you something pretty cool. Just a 10-second clip from this video. Alright, so some good stuff there, and the story behind this is that's the band Snowy Dunes from Sweden, and one of the band members, Kingstedt, is a Patreon supporter of mine, and he messaged me the other day with a very kind offer, just saying, hey, we love your stuff, this is my band, we're all Magic players, and if you ever want to use any of our music for like an intro, little intro animation with some music backing or something like that, feel free. And I said, man, that is awesome, thank you so much. Maybe I'll take you up on that, but in the meantime, I will give you a little signal boost on the channel. So there you go, guys. If you like that, check out Snowy Dunes, I'll link it below. They're gamers, they're awesome, you know, great musicians, good stuff. Please do check them out. And what are we doing? What are we doing with Kroxa in Modern Jund? Well, like I said, 1-minute deck tech, we'll keep it short and sweet, but basically we have replaced Scavenging Ooze ×2 with Kroxa ×2 in the main deck, and otherwise it is a more or less stock list from roughly from the Oko meta. Of course, Oko warped main decks even more than this one is. You know, some people were lower on lightning bolts after enough times of it not doing enough against Oko, and maybe we were playing more Abrupt Decays back then. Certainly the Kolaghan's command has come back into fashion thanks in no small part to that meta, right? But, so this is basically a stock Jund list, but we have subbed out the oozes, we've placed the Kroxas in their slots, and we have also made some modifications to the mana base. We are on 18 red sources here, as well as 18 black, which is going to not only facilitate Kroxa on curve very nicely, but also a lot of these double red 3-drops in the sideboard. So speaking of those, the sideboard, of course, looks very, very different. It's anyone's guess as to how the meta will shape, but I am taking a cue from Reed Duke here with these pillages. This is the most unorthodox one. So Reed was tuning Jund on his stream like the first day. This was, I believe, yesterday or maybe 2 days ago. Already can't remember what day it is. But anyway, Reed had 2 Fulminator Mage, 1 Stone Rain, and 1 Molten Rain. He was testing those red land destruction cards because they do not get blown out by Veil of Summer. And I really like that idea, and I thought, well, if we're testing the red land destruction effects, and I'm kind of already warping my mana base to accommodate red, partially for Kroxa, a little bit more than otherwise, partially for Kroxa, and partially because I think Anger of the Gods is a card I wanted to play, then why don't we just play Pillage? This gives us a lot of juice against the Urza decks, against whatever remnants of affinity there might be. I know that people expect the deck to be dead, but it's kind of been almost dead for a while, and I almost expect to be more likely to see it because people might be seeing what a build without Mox Opal looks like and testing various new alternatives, right? So, Pillage, just no real reason not to play this as far as I can tell. Again, because we are already accommodating its cost over something like Molten Rain or Stone Rain. I think Pillage is mostly better. Beyond that, I really like the sideboard that I've come up with here. Shadow Spear is also new tech. It is, of course, experimental, but I think it is playable in BGX. Definitely going to be really nice to swing aggro matchups with this, and of course also to side in against hexproof and indestructible stuff. We have a healthy respect for a variety of graveyard-based decks. Grafdigger's Cage, because Yawgmoth is on everyone's radar right now, but also does a lot in a lot of other matchups. Nihil Spellbomb, probably the hardest grave hate. You know, it clears out the graveyard and cantrips for 2 total mana. Ashiok Dreamrender is our best card against the Primeval Titan decks, along with Pillage, and also does double duty against graveyard decks. And finally, Kalida's Trader of Get is a hedge against burn and graveyards. It can be a little bit slow in both of those, but if you disrupt a little bit and then stick him on curve, he can really win you the game, and just generically a good value card against any kind of a fair or fairish deck. One Plague Engineer, I never leave home without at least one, preferably 4 when I play the rock, but 1 will suffice here. Collective Brutality, this is something I wish I had room for a second one. I thought about cutting an Ouphe or a Veil of Summer for it, but I do want to respect the Urza decks, because they are still out there. And I want to have something powerful to do in any kind of a black-based interactive mirror. So we are a little light against burn. Shadow Spear, Brutality, and Kalitas are really the only heavy hitters we're bringing in. So if there's one matchup I'm not respecting as much as I maybe should, it would be burn. But anyway, guys, we can still beat them, and we can still beat everybody else because we're Jund, and we have some new toys, and we have a more favorable meta. So let's play a league. It's been a little while since I played a BGX league, so I've got 4 Patreon supporters to thank as we're joining match number 1. First, we got a welcome back Luke Isaac, Patreon supporter, who took a very short break and then came back bigger and better, upgraded to tireless tier. Thank you so much, my friend. Great to have you back. Simon Gronden is a brand new Inquisitor. Thank you very much. Romain Parasoni was an Inquisitor and is now a Confidant. Thank you very much, my friend. And last but certainly not least is Nick Hernandez, a brand new Of the Veil tier supporter, very highest tier of support. And to each and every one of you guys, I appreciate you, and to all other Patreons, I love you too. Thank you all so much, and let's play. And we've got the Victor Lopez 15 in chat, who recognizes us and says, "I'm a fan, it's an honor, good luck." Thanks much. Same to you. We sure do have a nice hand in this blind game 1. Opponent will assume that we're on a BGX deck, and it looks like they are too. Alright, we're just kicking things off with a mirror. So surely one of the Planeswalkers has to go down here. No surprise, it's Wrenn and Six. Maybe our opponent is on BG Rock. If they're a fan of the channel and they lead on Swamp, I think that's what I would put them on at the moment. We're going to run out Bloodstained Mire here in case they play something we can bolt. Opponent says not BG today. I guess he's referring to us. Aha, they do look like they're on rock, but you still don't quite know. Alright, so losing our Wrenn and Six to discard was pretty rough. Drawing another one here would be pretty perfect. Instead, we draw Raging Ravine. There's a temptation to play that, but there's also a pretty good incentive to just hold up Assassin's Trophy. I think we're going to hold up Trophy here. Aha! Opponent is on Jund as well. They concealed it well. And it's a Liliana of their own. Sure. So we could pitch an Excess Lily, or we could pitch the Raging Ravine. Guess it's going to be the Ravine. If I had had them on Jund, I might have gotten like a basic mountain turn 1 or something. I would have, in other words, have just sequenced a little less painfully overall with my fetches. Trophying here is not that fun with a Peatland on field for the OP. But we are just kind of trying to win the Liliana wars here. Certainly, Thoughtseize is a pretty free pitch. And Bloodstained Mire, I guess, is a pretty free pitch for the OP. So, excuse me. Classic BGX top deck scenarios here, about to unfold. Ooh, Tracker, but no land, thankfully. Thankfully. An interesting spot. So we can pulse the Tracker and put everybody into top deck mode by ticking up, but I think I'd rather just Edict and hold on to my really good spells in hand. We do definitely have some clunk going on because everything is sorcery speed. You know, with this Liliana-based situation, it'd be really nice to have the option to dump out our hand more aggressively, but, you know, I do still like this. Okay. Kolaghan's Command, huh? Well, we don't have any creatures to buy back, so it's not that impressive right now. So I think we play Liliana, and I'm not even sure what's better to discard here. I actually think it might be, we might pitch the K command, keep the Pulse, Pulse will answer anything, right? The only way we really get punished for this is if they have another Lily of their own. But they had one in hand. So it's just, they only have 2 left to draw on the deck out of 47 cards. Not particularly likely. Shocking in, but not on Liliana mana. Scavenging Ooze, sure. So do we want to Edict and hang on to our stuff? Or do we want to keep ticking up for alt? I'm going to opt for the Edict. Making the 4th land drop is pretty important. There are some incentives to slow roll that. But there are also some incentives to play it out. I'm going to value this Pulse highly for 1 turn. We're putting the opponent in a real no-win situation here unless they top deck like Bloodbraid Elf. And when we start drawing 2 cards per turn off of Bob, we can more freely pitch Liliana up without losing equity. Okay, there's the Bloodbraid Elf. So, unlucky for the OP that they are flooding. Looks like they did find some action here, but it's just an Abrupt Decay. Taking care of Bob, totally fine with me. Alright, I still don't see any reason why we need to be any more aggressive with Liliana than this. Tarmogoyf a good draw here, of course, when we're trying to close this game out. Cool. All right, yeah, I mean, there you go. Top deck war, we got the luckier top decks by a pretty significant margin. Not a whole lot more to it than that sometimes. Okay, so, as mentioned, I'm afraid we don't have all that much that's terribly exciting in the mirror. How do we rate Shadowspear in the mirror? That's interesting. I don't know how to rate it. My instinct is no, because it's like a conditional do nothing if they have removal for our stuff, which they very often will. But we'll at least consider it. I'm more interested in this stuff. I don't think we're going to go on the land destruction plan. We lose a lot of value by not being able to bring Fulminator in situations like this. Then again, against Jund, I probably wouldn't bring it in at all anyway, because Wrenn and Six really rolls back that plan to a significant degree. So we're going to be on the draw. We can consider cutting a land. And we can consider moving away from discard effects as well, but the rest of our deck is pretty much amazing. So I guess it doesn't matter much that we don't have all that much to do. I think I like this. I think we'll go down to 22 lands. We'll side out 3 discard spells, hedging between Thoughtseize and Inquisition, and 1 land, and bring in some pretty reasonable stuff overall. You know, I'm even wondering about Plague Engineer not being that good here, maybe on the draw especially. But I think this is fine. He's just better on the play, that's all. You know, you certainly trying to tag a Bob with him for the 2-for-1. Okay, opponent will mulligan. Our hand really needs to draw black land to function, but I think it is a keep on the draw. Specifically because we have the floor of these early plays and like a really strong hand overall that rewards us for it, plus the opponent mulling. Hey, we did side out a swamp though, you know? Maybe we should have sided out basic mountain, then this would be a swamp and we'd be all good. There we go. Never didn't have it. So I play Blood Crypt there for a few reasons. Number one, it does set us up to play Liliana on curve if we draw her and a black land. Number two, it doesn't telegraph that we have a lightning bolt. Number three, it allows us to trophy next turn, whereas basic mountain would not. Not that we'd probably want to, but we're just giving ourselves the very widest range of options here. I also don't think I'm going to play a Tarmogoyf out yet, because one of the ways we kind of unmulligan them is if we just, like, let them edict something if they have Liliana next turn. So we're just going to play this kind of draw-go game for a minute. We are ahead on cards due to their mulligan, and also due to being on the draw. So this can favor us. Ashiok Dream Render. Okay, we're going to really have to remember to play around that, but otherwise it shouldn't be an issue at all. Probably going to promptly draw a couple fetch lands after having said that. Alright, so opponent mills. Hey, they milled the fetch land away for us. Got it. Alright, so now I suppose we are fairly priced into the Goyf. Despite it being a pretty poor situation for it overall. We're no less vulnerable to a Liliana Edict, but the fact that the opponent's no longer playing Draw-Go and the fact that we don't know we're going to hit our 4th land makes me want to do this. Trades with Lightning Bolt, sure. That's fine with me. They've got a Goyf, we've got a push. We're going to move to the end step because might change what they do with Ashiok otherwise. Alright, looking for that 4th land for the Bloodbraid Elf. I should have been more specific. Looking for the untapped 4th land. Whatever, we'll take it. It's the Goyf Wars. The Modern Masters Goyf versus the Future Sight Goyf. I love Future Sight Goyf. I love the border, I love the art. But I think this art I love slightly more. Alright, so they got us. But that's alright, because we're going to get them back at parity, and then some, hopefully, with this Bloodbraid Elf. Bloodbraid into a K command, or even just any kind of threat would be sweet. Kroxa. Yep. It's Kroxa time. Opponent's going to discard something. And hey, admittedly, Ashiok is pretty good against Kroxa. We're probably going to see an Ashiok activation here. And we get a Bloodbraid out of their hand? Nice. Still got to take care of the Liliana here, in my view. Like, Kroxa still traded 1-for-1 with their Bloodbraid Elf there. Ashiok is just kind of taking value away from us in a non-direct way. Maybe they won't even mill. Nah, they do. Okay. Bye-bye, Kroxa. Kind of priced into this play, trophying the Tarmogoyf. Could turn on a Fatal Push. I hope that's not their last card, but even if so, we're still kind of ahead here. I don't think the last card in their hand was a land, because they did miss land. They did look like they were planning to miss a land drop for a minute, you know? Like by that pitch of Bloodbraid Elf. They're fetching now. I don't know what that means. Is this just to revolt Fatal Push, or what? Nope. Okay, Bloodbraid Elf. Into Pulse. Yep. I think I'm bolting their elf here just because I'm pretty mana-hungry with this Ravine. In a different world, we could afford to take some hits. Okay, we can stop drawing lands now. That'd be cool. Fulminator. That's a pretty good draw. Hopefully we draw a Wrenn and Six to really punish this decision from OP. But, you know, I will say that Ashiok and Fulminator do work pretty well together, like if you're bringing one in. Oh, we immediately hit their Wrenn and Six. Nice. So why don't we attack first? And we can just buy it back. Ooh, oh no, okay. Fail. Fail, fail, fail. I forgot that... My bad, guys. I forgot that I subbed out an Overgrown Tomb for a Blood Crypt. And that pretty seriously punishes us, but at the same time, this is pretty fine. So that they just gave us a way worse turn last turn, basically. All right, Wrenn and Six. Gotta buy back the Ravine. And a part of me wants to just trophy their Ravine main phase in case they top deck Veil of Summer. But another part of me, of course, wants to hold it, because that's just better sequencing against, like, anything else. Why don't we hold it? Oh no, they top deck Bloodbraid? Okay, no, this is an activation, sure. Okay, no Veil of Summer. Cool. All right, I suppose we're just dumping out the hand. Okay, opponent just using the K command to shock Lily, basically. I've seen worse. So this Bloodstained Mire can only get Swamp, we've got to remember that. I think that's the last fetchable in our deck besides our basic Forest. And there's only one Swamp left. Abrupt Decay. Well, we'll see you later, Abrupt Decay. Fatal Push gets out of the hand. Nice. We're just going to keep ticking up toward ults. There are some incentives to ping because we're trying to close out the game with Ravine, but I would rather threaten another win condition. Opponent says, this is impossible. Good game, well played. Good luck in the future. Where are you from? I'm an American. I'm from the United States of America. I think this, yeah. I mean, it's... I don't really have a regional accent, I guess, but I suppose most people would think I'm American just based on the voice, and they'd be correct. Good luck in the league. Yeah, same to you, bro. Same to you. All right, a nice, clean 2-0 in the mirror. Yeah, I mean... Again, I pointed out Ashiok, Dream Render, Fulminator Mage, these are things that I didn't bring in, that I had access to. Well, not Fulminator, but the Fulminator equivalent of Pillage. You saw how they were relatively low impact. They're high variance cards, like they can cheese out games, but I don't think that's really where you want to be. But it all depends on your main deck configuration. Like, if Victor is configured more in the main deck to beat, like, non-fair decks, non-attrition decks, and he also doesn't have that much in the sideboard, then I can definitely see bringing it in. But, like, this main deck is very good in a mid-range mirror. We've got Kroxa, we've got double Kolaghan's Command, and then we've got all the usual Wrenn and Six, Lily of the Veil, Bloodbraid Elf, awesome stuff, right? So, yeah, if you're already well configured, I wouldn't bring in Ashiok, and I wouldn't bring in Fulminator, specifically against Jund with Wrenn and Six. In other mid-range matches, Fulminator is more reasonable. We're on the draw with a really tempting hand to keep. Oh god, is this ever tempting? This is such a good hand. But it's a one-lander. I think we probably throw back most one-landers in the blind. Sure, this one's a lot less exciting. Birds of Paradise. Okay, I mean, this could be... lately, I've seen Yawgmoth. I should have mentioned this. This is my first time playing Jund in a while. It's my first time playing Kroxa, ever, in a league. But it's not my first league since the bans. I did play one league yesterday. We went 4-1 with Prowess. I saw the Yawgmoth deck twice. I also saw the new Urza deck twice. And... what was my fifth? Tron. So yeah, Urza times 2, Tron, and Yawgmoth times 2. Quite the introduction to the new meta, but We did go 4-1. I split the matches against the new Urza deck, and we took down Yawgmoth twice, and we beat Tron as well. Tron beat me game 1 after mulling to 4, but then I won both post-side games. Renegade Rallier. Okay. A Naya deck of some kind. I don't know if I'm really meant to know what this is. Birds and Rallier could mean any number of things, right? Buying back the birds is pretty annoying, though. Makes our Liliana a whole lot worse. Really wish I had another removal spell here, but we do not. We have a Tarmogoyf. I think I like that better than running out the Lily into that board. Then again, like, just stopping them from ramping is probably pretty good. Like, if they... Oh, man. It's a tough call. Wish I had a better notion of what I was up against. You know what? I think letting them have the birds is dangerous. And it seems like the type of game where Liliana is not really going to be super high value anyway. So even though we could just kind of get blown out by another Renegade Rallier, buying it back yet again or whatever, I don't mind. I don't mind the basically 3 mana Fatal Push Your Birds play. Maybe we gain 3 life of it off of it as well. Yep. I mean, we're behind. We were on the draw, we took a mulligan, we're having to make plays like this. We're behind. Magus of the Moon? Oh no! Yeah, we just pretty much lost. Pretty much lost to this. Well, that's some cheese. Okay, we're on a 4-turn clock. We've got to draw basic forest. Opponent only attacking with 1 thing means that they're setting up a Court of Calling for 3. Okay. Now they decide to just go for it. That's what it looked like to me, though. Alright. Whatever. I would scoop here if I had full knowledge of their deck. But since I don't, we'll just play it out. Very fun and skill-testing game. Alright, well, they're not going to show us anything else because they don't need to. Alright, there could be some combo like I've seen Kiki Jiki and Restoration Angel in Anaya Shell. But we don't necessarily need to know exactly what their main win condition is because we kind of want to configure the same way against it anyway. The only thing I'm not sure about is Grafdigger's Cage because they didn't really show us Chord. But yeah, it's good against Renegade Rallier. I'll probably play it. I don't expect them to be like an aggro deck. They just aggroed us out there because we couldn't cast any spells. So let's play Grafdigger's Cage, Anger, Brutality, Plague Man, Kalitas. These all seem fine. Maybe leave Shadow Spear on the bench for now. Ashiok might have applications, but this is something I'm more on the fence about, but we'll put it over here for consideration. The thing is, again, I think our main deck's going to be really good here. We're not even going to probably have room for, like, these 5 cards, right? So yep, there's literally nothing that we have that's main deck that I think is bad. So I think we're just going to trim a couple of the clunkier things and go in A little bit harder on some of the blowouts like Anger. I don't even think I want Grafdigger's Cage because it just, again, seems like such a good matchup. Anger and Plague Man are two huge blowouts. Maybe we'll trim one Kroxa because it's slow and because it can be clunky in multiples and we have a lot of other good things to do. So it's between one of these three. And maybe we also like trim a discard spell on the play. I'm going to leave in Thoughtseize in case they're on Collected Company. And let's just play like all of our bombs and answers. See if we can find out a little bit more and take them to game 3. Whatever this deck is, I'm sure it's a fine matchup for us, but the cheese factor does exist, and that's how they got us game 1. Okay, so our plan here is to get Blood Crypt turn 1, Basic Forest turn 2 into Wrenn and Six. Then we just have no more mana issues. Ever again, right? Never again. It's possible that the moon effects are not even in against us any longer post-side. It's very, very possible. Nevertheless, we can afford to play around them with these, with Wrenn, of course, quite freely. So we're just going to get a Swamp and Edict here. I guess they could technically have Veil of Summer here. Another Wall of Roots. And no other land. All right, cool. So very, very good options here. Just begin by getting our value. And then our free pitch. See what they pitch. Oh, aha! Prime Speaker Vannifar. I haven't seen this deck since it came out. Wow, okay. I don't know how to play against it, like with the ins and outs, but good to know exactly what they're up to. So, I think we are supposed to just Fatal Push this Wall of Roots because they are mana screwed. And also because we have a Dark Confidant to play, which is really good. Okay, they hit the third land. Yeah, so I don't know how to like break up the Vannifar chain necessarily. I haven't really seen it. Haven't really seen it in action at all, like since it back when it came out. Lightning Bolt Swamp. All right, we got plenty to do here. Let's begin with the Lily Plus. Get another Prime Speaker out of the hand. Okay. Then it's going to be Bloodbraid next. See what we hit. I don't think I'm going to cast a duplicate Wrenn and Six, so I didn't activate first. I will cast that, Tarmogoyf. So we can bolt Ewit and tick Wrenn up, but I think I don't need to go for the ult. I think I like just max efficiency control the board here. Hold up Lightning Bolt for that purpose as well. Just being very wary of what they can assemble on the field. This thing needs to untap to do anything. Yeah, okay. Or needs to tap, rather. Okay, Wall of Roots into Spellskite. Yeah, a couple cards that we can't Lightning Bolt. So that's kind of annoying. So we could bolt upstairs for the sake of mana efficiency, but I don't think I'm gonna. Especially because we can bolt plus ping to finish something off this turn. Okay, we've got all kinds of stuff. Another Bloodbraid. Let's just begin with an Edict. Alright, good enough. Opponent just kind of delaying the inevitable there, which is fine. You know, right up until this turn, I think they could reasonably expect that maybe they'd have some breathing room, but we never gave them any breathing room. What an impressive curve out that was. Alright, so that was the type of curve out that we need and that we love. On the draw, we're going to be a little bit more dependent upon having the early interaction, I think, and also not getting cheesed out again by a Moon Effect. Anger looks a little bit less good now that I know they're on the 2/4 Prime Speaker, the 0/4 Spellskite, and the 0/5 Wall of Roots. That said, it still can really easily 2-for-1 them. I think maybe we bring back all discard on the play, on the draw rather. Still definitely don't feel the need for Shadow Spear now. So I think 3 Liliana's pretty fine on the draw. And I think I'm actually just going to not play with Kalidas, because I think our card quality is already much higher than theirs. So we don't need, like, that top-end snowball value. Therefore, I'm going to keep Anger in for the blowout potential, even though it's not always going to get there. I think we have enough bombs. We'll lean toward the answer, even if the answer is imperfect. I think it's pretty much that or Kolaghan's Command. Now, this is a very fine hand on the play, but on the draw, is it too slow? Probably. It's unfortunate, but let's try to mull to a really good 6. I don't know if it's really good, but it's definitely a fine one. We got to bottom one of these Bloodbraids. And we get to go Bolt into Bob here if they have a turn 1 Dork, but they don't. Drawing the 3rd land here is fine. Now, it's going to be tricky if they play a Boltable 2-drop, because then we're going to want to fetch a dual land, but then we could get mooned if we do. Alright, so they're not playing anything. Fair enough. I guess we can just Bolt Magus if they play it. So let's go get Stomping Ground here and play Bob, I guess. We don't want to take ourselves off of red because we're worried about their Blood Moon. And now we have another castable card in hand, even if they have a Blood Moon and we somehow can't deal with it, right? I will tell you it's a little rough not to have seen any discard over these two, the 7 and the 6, because we have all 6 in. We don't want to flood with those in the top deck attrition war, if that's what it comes to, but the opponent's certainly not really accelerating out of the gates here, so I don't know what to expect. Lightning Helix on the Bob. I didn't expect that. Raging Ravine. I think I'd rather play that and guarantee Bloodbraid next turn, also hold up Bolt. It also lets us untap and double Bolt the Prime Speaker if that's the only chance we're going to have to kill it. Wow. Opponent just doing nothing over there. I don't know if they're waiting for us to tap out, but we're certainly just going to jam Bloodbraid here. Got a lot of very good cascades and 1 or 2 dead ones. That's a pretty good one. So opponent just did nothing last turn. Okay, there's the 4th land. Surely that's what they've been waiting for. I'm not familiar with the deck. I don't know if we expect Collected Company. I don't think so, but I'm not up to speed. Deputy of Detention. Well, you're going to get bolted. Thoughtseize, a good draw. Hopefully this is not Veil of Summer. It's just like the most tilting card on the planet. Looks like it is. That explains a lot. Alright, well, that really sucks. You hate to see it. There's probably something I can name with Plague Engineer to break up the chain. Like the Vannifar chain. I'm thinking of like some sprite. Yeah, I'm gonna... Pardon me, guys, while I take a look at a recent list. Because... like, the mana-efficient thing to do, the proactive thing to do here is to, of course, play the Plague Man. But I think we're beyond the point where, like, naming Bird is good. So, let me just see what some juicy X ones are. I'm thinking of, like... Okay, so yeah, this list looks so different from the last one I've seen. There used to be some 1-mana fairy that they played. That was part of the untap chain. So we could name Human for Eternal Witness for a non-buffed Knight of Autumn. We could name Bird for Gilded or for Birds of Paradise. There's really not that much that's exciting that I see in this list anyway. I think I'm just going to play him out, name Human. This archetype is fairly fringe, too, so, you know, builds do vary. This we can also, like, combine to ping in Shrink and X2 Human now. Alright. Alright, well, let's begin by cracking Peatland, because that's, number one, a good play. Number two, we can loop it with Wrenn. And we're just going to double bolt the speaker here. If I had a better sense of the matchup, I would probably have a better sense as to whether it's higher value on average to just ping in bolt with Wrenn and hold the other bolts, or to do as we did here. I don't know. I could really go either way. But I feel like it's hard to go wrong by looping Nurturing Peatland, getting a free draw every turn while taking your Planeswalker up. Seems like it's hard to go wrong with that, right? Certainly rewarded for that by drawing a Tarmogoyf as well. And we can now also cast our whole deck under a Blood Moon except Liliana's of the Veil, so that's cool, right? Yeah, Goldfish is showing me 2 recent decks featuring the Prime Speaker. That's it. And I don't know how good Plague Engineer is here. Seems not as good as I assumed it would be. Just, again, by glancing at this one list. I see Stoneforge Mystic in the list. That's kind of cool. Giver of Runes is seeing play. That makes sense. Oh, speaking of Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, you know, this is a card I don't know how well prepared I am for it. Like, we have a lot of natural answers to it, but, like, I didn't... Like, we have a K command on the bench here. But we just draw Maelstrom Pulse, so that's cool, too. Alright. So if we crack Peatland or we cast the Pulse, we cannot fire up Raging Ravine. If we attack with Raging Ravine, that's lethal. We're forcing a chump block. Unless they have a Lightning Helix, and they could just have other removal like Path to Exile, so I don't think we're supposed to attack. I think we're supposed to crack Peatland, and then have Pulse plus a free draw as the floor for the turn. Or we could double ping Stoneforge right now. And Veil of Summer does not play around that. Plus we are then 5. Yeah. I think I might go for that. Then we're kind of forcing them to have removal or something else to stay alive. And it's just so value positive. We risk losing the Wrenn and Six this way to like a Helix or something, but that should be the least of our problems with our board state. And I really like not running the Pulse out into a potential Veil of Summer. That's my main motivation here. But also just generically having it in the back pocket seems good. What does this fetch mean? Oh, Chord of Calling? Is this just for a chump blocker, or is it for... I think it has to be for a chump blocker. Like, they could protect it with, like, I don't know, Burnt and Forge Tender or something, but then they just die on board. Giver of Runes. Okay, so they got their chump block. They're alive. But they're at 3. And we've got a lot of ways to get over the line. Batterskull. Okay. Well, they really made us do it, but we did it. We did it. So they stole game 1 on the back of Magus. And then I think we showed that this is a pretty good matchup from there. Like, we didn't have really... we had a pretty ideal progression, I guess. Let's not sell that one short in game 2. But there in game 3, it wasn't ideal. We were on the draw, we mulled the 6, it was kind of eh. We got there. We got there pretty overwhelmingly in the end. Had a lot of different lines available to us, and even had the luxury of playing around Veil of Summer. And look, maybe that's what, maybe things would have gone differently if we didn't. So Veil of Summer is our bane right now. It's also our ally, I guess, because it's in my sideboard. But it's mostly our bane. It's mostly the card we hate to see. And it has major blowout potential against us if the game's at all even. So we took a negative value line relative to other options by going double Wrenn and Six, but I do think playing around Veil was pretty much worth it there. Anyway, so far so good, guys. With Kroxa Jund, admittedly, we haven't seen much of the big guy himself. We cascaded into him once, I believe, and got a free discard, which, for the record, is pretty good. Like, you're already, taking an aggressive stance when you play Bloodbraid Elf. Often you'll be lava spiking them and discarding them out. And then, by definition, if you're casting Bloodbraid Elf, you have enough mana to escape Kroxa. You just, assuming you're not on basic forest, you also have the colors, most likely. And, yeah. Anyway, onward we go. Here we are to round 3. Winning the die roll. It's an unexciting but keepable hand. Marsh Flats into Swamp. And this hand's not very good against an attrition deck. So I don't know what this is. Obviously, Marsh Flats is signaling white. But it could just be a rock deck playing a 5th fetch land. Could also be Abzan, Deadguy Ale. Could even be some kind of an Esper something or other. But they take our bolts. Alright, well. Wrenn and Six. I like that draw a whole lot. A whole lot. I'm just trying to puzzle out whether it's better to get a basic or a non-basic here, basically. No pun intended. Basic, basically. It could be against a Path to Exile deck. So I think I'm going to get Overgrown Tomb. Alright, seems good. That's the type of value engine we want against any kind of a discard deck. Yeah, it might be Deadguy Ale. Be pretty cool. I like that a lot. I messed around with that archetype a tad. back when it came out, so I think we are going Liliana here. Another good draw. I'm going to be pretty aggressive with my life total here. One more time. Actually, that just might be unnecessary. A couple of real nice draws here, though, you gotta say. Well, they're a Field of Ruin deck. Field and Path, one assumes. Kaya. So they exile our graveyard. And they can exile a non-land permanent with CMC 1 or less. I suppose we do want a Thoughtseize here, although running out double Goyf is obviously pretty tempting. It's an interesting call. Why don't we just begin by ticking up and buying back? Yeah, I'll Thoughtseize. Okay, pretty rewarded taking the only action in their hand. So they got a lot of utility lands. This was a Kaya's Guile, which would have been pretty good against us. And they've got the Silent Clearing and the Shambling Vent. And they can keep shrinking our Goyf steadily with Kaya. Stoneforge Mystic. For Batterskull, sure. So one unknown in hand, Batterskull, Godless Shrine, and one unknown. Okay, Goyfeed Boy down to a 2-3. We draw Raging Ravine. Yeah, pricing the opponent into attacking our graveyard because we are representing Renalt into Thoughtseize your Batterskull. They know we also have the land in hand for Retrace. So Goyfs are still plenty big. And they have two unknowns in hand. Picture our mountain here to conceal info. Tide Hollow Sculler, one unknown. All right. How greedy do we want to get with our Wrenn? Should we just emblem? All right, they're scooping. Fair enough. Yeah, maybe I was taking too long on that decision. I'm not trying to slow roll the opponent. We're very ahead. I was just trying to game out what are the odds that we possibly lose from that situation. Like if we ult, we don't have any direct value right there, right now. so there's at least some incentive to put it to 8 and then ult. And we could have protected it very well. Then we were deciding attack with one Goyf or attack with both. Attacking with both means we protect our Planeswalkers less well, but we also kill the Kaya through a Fatal Push. So there was a lot to consider, but I don't blame the opponent for scooping there. Didn't mean to slow roll you, my friend. I don't know what to expect out of them exactly. If they're on Lingering Souls, we're going to want Nihil Spellbomb. If not, it's kind of medium. Plague Engineer's more all-around interesting, I guess. They've got Tide Hollows, Stone Forges. Anger of the Gods is not terrible, but I don't think I'm going to play it. I don't ever really hate a cheeky one of Collector Ouphe. I don't know if we should be playing Pillages against the Stoneforge deck either. There's a lot to consider here. I think I'm going to say no to Spellbomb until we see more. Like, Kaya and Souls are a little bit of a non-bow, so maybe they're not on Souls. But we'll play the Plague Man as a hedge against that, and also just a fine card in general. I think I'm going to sideboard conservatively here. Trimming a couple discard spells, and I think one Liliana as a hedge against Souls, especially being on the draw, it's kind of bad. We could and maybe should cut a land. Blackcleave Cliffs. I'm going to play a one of Pillage. Seems awkward, but they have a lot of utility lands, so it's kind of removal for Shambling Vent or a tapped... What's it called? Silent Clearing, that's the one. And it's also, of course, a way to destroy Batterskull. Who knows what else they're on? We sideboard conservatively if we're not sure, and that's what's going on here. OP will keep 7, so will we. It's fine. Doesn't have very good early interaction. Opponent's probably going to be a little confused by this Pillage. Kolaghan's Command is the most powerful take in a vacuum. We assume they're going to have removal for Bob, but maybe they don't because they take him. Interesting. Raging Ravine. It's unfortunate that we don't get to conceal info this way, but it's still the right call to play that, I would say. So it's possible their sequencing makes sense. They could still have removal and wanted to take the Bob so they could go Sculler on curve. Pillage also kills Sculler. Dark Confidant. That is our play. It's vulnerable to getting blown out by a few different things they could have, but I think that's the correct play. Their sequencing leads me to believe they don't have a blowout for them. So if they top deck one, that sucks. But if they don't, we could be in business. Sword of Feast and Famine. Alright, untapping with the Bob, drawing an Inquisition. That's cool. Kinda wanna just pillage the Tide Hollow Sculler, though. But we could also Inquisition, then Trophy. Either way, we got a Trophy, probably the Sculler. Well, that's a tough call. It's a tough call. Trophy is just so much worse than Decay in a situation like this. I think we like Inquisition, though. Yeah, Inquisition, then grab Swamp and Trophy is going to be our play. They have a Thoughtseize and they have 2 Lingering Souls. Yikes. Yeah, we're going to really struggle to beat these souls unless we draw our Plague Man. Or unless we start curving out in a way that is, like, really oppressive and also not painful for us. We can deal with a Sword of Feast and Famine. And right now, unless they drew a land for a turn, it's still going to be a clunky turn either way. But yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal, but I think it's fine to not have necessarily played around the souls that we didn't know they had, for sure. But maybe we just should have. Ew, Lily of the Veil. Ew, bad flip. Bad flip. Attacking with the Bob, we got a race here. I don't mind the trade either, so. I'm going to pillage here because the K command opens up better lines down the road. And, like, neither line is amazing right now. Alright, so it looks like they're going to win this, and then we'll definitely reevaluate post-side. Liliana, Kroxa, all a lot worse in the face of the what looks like 4 Lingering Souls. Alright, draw the Plague Man and we're in business. We flip another Lily. Okay. Okay, pretty much just dead. We offer a trade. They don't take it. Surprise, surprise. So I guess we're edicting here. Trying to beat the board. Okay, there's land number 5, so they can play Batterskull. Again, we're just losing to souls. But maybe they just go all in on the souls here. And then we draw Plague Engineer, and we also don't die to our own Bob. That would be the way we win this. Yeah, they diversify with a skull. Makes sense. Alright. Painless flip. Not painless. Fatal push. Dead to the board. Let's tick up to get a little more info. They're probably going to pitch a souls here, though. Yes. Alright, so we were not optimally sided against a Lingering Souls heavy progression, that's for sure. Again, maybe should have just assumed that, but a lot of the stuff we're playing is not that great if they're not on souls, you know what I mean? Like if we're considering Grafdigger's Cage and Spellbomb. And then we wonder about Ashiok, shutting off their fetch lands, shutting off their graveyard, and shutting off Stoneforge Mystic on the play. I think I can manage 1 Ashiok. I don't think I want 2 because it's just a static piece. Doesn't really progress our plan. Anger of the Gods is also a lot more appealing. So we've got a lot of ways to clean up. I don't think we're going to play Cage for that reason. We don't want to only be configured to beat Lingering Souls. We're going to cut at least 2 Lily, maybe a 3rd. She's still pretty good on the play against Stoneforge and Sculler. Cut one Kroxa. We're considering those. I think I'm going to bring back the 23rd land on the play. We've got some slightly higher curve stuff. Let's also trim a Thoughtseize. Go down to 1 Lily, seems fine. How are we looking now? It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I think that is acceptable. You know, Shadow Spear is not that bad. Trample is very relevant against the Lingering Souls deck. But they're also a Fatal Push deck, so I don't want to be stuck with nothing to equip it to. I think we just run it like this. It looks like we're not siding in Shadow Spear that much, but remember this is mostly to shore up aggressive matchups, and we haven't seen those yet. And it has the upside of helping us beat Indestructible or Hexproof. And I think you could justify it here, maybe it just depends on your configuration. Alright, let's get them on the play, guys. Let's get them on the play. Not with a hand like this. You can't keep a one-lander when it's Swamp and you have Wrenns. Really unfortunate. Oh my god. Another unkeepable one. This is pretty disastrous in an attrition matchup. 3 straight one-landers, sure, we'll stay at 5. Bottom both Bloodbraid Elves. And just pretty much lose to anything they're doing that's like what they want to do. Well, this sucks. This is kind of just a free win we're giving up. We've got such a good configuration against them now, but it doesn't matter if you can't keep playable hands, right? Yep. And here's what I mean, like, they do this SFM thing, they do the Souls thing, we can't keep up with any of that. Alright. Pretty absurd. The league was going so well. The league was going so well, and then that happens? Really? Sometimes this is why I keep risky one-landers, because, like, that one-lander was at least functional. R7. No, it wasn't. Well, I can't remember. It had Swamp. And I think it had Fatal Push in a discard spell, but I could be wrong about that. I mean, either way, we need to draw the second land to start doing anything, but... oh well. Hey, you know, that's not an indictment of the deck. A mulligan like that can happen to anyone, and we even put the 23rd land back in for it, so it's not like we got greedy with our lands. We just got unlucky. So we move on. No use in dwelling on it, right, my friends? Hope you're enjoying the league anyway. We are still doing very well. And this is a hand with a noticeable gap between the 1-drop and the 4-drop slot, but it's a definite keep. And I think, yeah, we've been losing like every die roll. That's not great either. But the opponent mulling is pretty sweet. Let's hope Inquisitions can do a ton of damage against whatever they're up to. My instinct here is to go Swamp Inquisition, but I've got to remember on Jund, which I'm not as experienced on still, that unless you're against a really aggressive deck, you probably want to go Blood Crypt, just in case you draw Wrenn and Six so you can cast it on curve. Okay, against a Misty Rainforest deck without a turn 1 play, I think we can pretty safely go Blood Crypt. If our opponent ever lets us go to the draw step, that is. And then beyond that to the main phase. Did they have a spicy upkeep play? I don't think so. I don't really think so. Another Bloodbraid Elf. Our late game inevitability is pretty nice. Let's try to get to the late game. Emry, Simian Spirit Guide, Sword of the Meek, Inkmoth Nexus. Okay, so this is clearly a Thopter Sword deck. Gotta take the Emry. I have not seen Simian Spirit Guide. Like I mentioned, in my Prowess League, I played against this deck twice, didn't see Simian Spirit Guide either time. I did see Urza in those decks. So there is a value plan with which Simian Spirit Guide is a little bit incongruous. And, of course, I imagine they're playing Urza here as well. That said, you know, maybe they're just trying to replicate the missing Mox Opal as best as they can. Like, I get it. And hey, we're going to get to Inquisition the Simian Guide away anyway. We just draw another Bloodbraid Elf. Well, I kind of would want some more low curve stuff, right? Wow. EE. Sure, we take the EE. They have 2 apes in hand. Okay, well, they have absolutely nothing, but they do have a combo piece on board. They draw land. Are they going to suit up the Nexus and start attacking? That's pretty risky against a Jund deck, but I think they're gonna. Or no, it's 1, 2, yeah. They're going to use a Simian Guide to do it as well. I mean, we could blow them out so incredibly hard if we had a normal Jund hand with 1 piece of removal, but it does not appear that we do. Oh, man. Are they not going for the equip? Again, pretty annoying that we don't have the removal, but Liliana, is that even good? I kind of think I'd rather save Liliana to Edict with. Like, ticking up sucks right now. We need the 4th land, and we want all 3 Bloodbraid Elves. Getting a Simian Guide out of their hand doesn't really do anything, especially just 1, because if they top deck Urza, which I hope they don't, they can still cast it off of 1 ape. And plus now we're bluffing all kinds of more removal, right? Okay, so they found Emry. It's kind of annoying. They've got Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas, which can Ensoul Artifact or do like an Impulse. Okay, got it. Again, I wish we just had removal. But we don't. So we'll see what we draw. I should not have fetched here in case we drew Fatal Push, actually. But whatever. If we draw Fatal Push, that's actually still good. Because they'll animate the Nexus maybe to keep the Emry alive, and then, alright, whatever. We just got Lightning Bolt, that works too. I think now we play Lily. Opponent declines to animate. It's probably the right play. On the other hand, like, if we had removal, we would have used it in the last 2 turns for sure. Like, we had a really good window for removal last turn and the turn before. So maybe this is what was going through OP's mind here. Okay, Tezzeret. Pretty rough. He's ticking up, which means we probably just want to bolt him and then kill him with Bloodbraid Elf. They put no cards into their hand? Okay. Seems great. What, he can just get any artifact and they whiffed on that? It's unfortunate. Yeah, let's bolt. All right, that was nice. OP with an island, so all they're operating on is this Inkmoth Nexus here. And they can now equip it, so it's a 2/3. That's something. But they tapped it to equip it. And then they scoop. All right. Seems like it misclicked to me. Needless to say, we were very far ahead there. It doesn't look like we got to worry about pump spells out of this deck or them stealing the game with Inkmoth. There's no way they should be able to beat us with Erase with these Bloodbraids in hand. Plus the fact that we do actually play removal in our deck. So it's not like, it's not like we were unable to answer an Inkmoth Nexus that's a 2/3, right? So what did we see? We saw Tezzeret, Emry. We got to assume Urza. We saw Simian Guides. We were obviously assuming Thopter Foundry as well. I suppose we probably want Anger, but I think we definitely want Pillages, Plague Man, Collector Ouphe, probably Collective Brutality, maybe Nihil Spellbomb. So there's a lot we could do. Again, guys, this is pretty much brand new territory, where lists are in total flux on all sides. I'm kind of going in blind. Hope I'm doing pretty well, all things considered, but my sideboarding may not end up being optimal. We'll have to see how it all goes. So, what are we saying they're no longer on the Urza decks? Because again, I've seen kind of a variety of things. I've seen the deck 3 times now. It's kind of been 3 different configurations. I think we're going to put them on Whir of Invention, which means I'm kind of interested in stuff like Cage or maybe Ashiok, but then again, maybe that's just like giving them too much respect. I think we're going to board out our pushes and lean on bolts. Let's try to bring all this stuff in and see where that leaves us. Why don't we cut 1 Kroxa? Seems fine, but also seems cuttable. Like we've got a lot of good stuff to do. Wrenn and Six might be slightly low impact. We're going down to 2 Lily. We can go down to 2 Wrenn. I think that's fine. The rest of our deck looks really good. Do we want to cut like a Bloodbraid Elf to put in 1 other sideboard card? Which would probably be Anger of the Gods. I think with all of our 2/2s out of the side, let's just leave it as is and see how we do. I don't know, I don't know. There's a lot of wiggle room here in this matchup, that is clear enough. We'll see what happens here, and we can always reevaluate. Our incentives will also, of course, change if we're on the play for Game 3. Another one-lander. Opponent will mull. We'll do the responsible thing and mull as well. We've got a high curve here as well. Alright, a functional hand. By God, we'll keep it. Guess we got a bottom of Tarmogoyf here. It's an awesome 7, and it's a pretty awesome 6, too, not gonna lie. Hey guys, while the opponents are resolving their mulligan, I would like to remind you that the channel has been sponsored by Brian Palmer of BrianPalmerArt.com. And he does awesome work. Bottom of Tarmogoyf here. Yeah, bottom of Goyf. He does awesome work. Tokens, playmats, and commissions to make your Magic life more beautiful, and you can check out his stuff. For in the description of my video, there is not only the link to his work, but a discount code that you can use. The code's Grimflayer MTG, 10% off your entire order. If you're an international shipper and you don't see your country on the list, you can contact him and he'll add it, or he'll at least look into adding it. So yeah, BrianPalmerArt.com. It's great stuff, and it helps me out too as well. So thank you in advance to anybody planning to do that, and thank you to anyone who has already done so. Really appreciate it. So does he, and you're going to appreciate it too when you see his beautiful artwork. It's the type of art that really personally appeals to me. I would not have accepted the sponsorship if it didn't. Opponent in the tank here. The fact that they're mulliganing so low is great news for us. When you're commentating a lot, the matches do kind of run together. I'm trying to remember exactly what colors we saw out of their mana base. I'm sure they can fix into 5 colors if they want to with Arkham's Astrolabe. But I'm just wondering what the odds are that we run into Veil of Summer again, basically. OP sticking at 5 after much deliberation. Well, they are representing it with that Misty. But we're not getting any younger with our Inquisition, right? It's not getting any better, really, so let's cast it. Don't veil me, bro. They have a Veil of Summer, but they just let this resolve. It's pretty cool. Thanks. Yeah, we'll take it. Okay. Maybe they don't have a green source to fetch? It's the only thing I can think of. Either way, I felt like I wanted to take that because it's going to make it's going to 2-for-1 our Decay or our Lily. Opponent just scoops. Okay. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe a concession because they realize they missed the line. Couldn't tell you. You gotta figure they have one fetchable green source in the deck. So we just got kind of handed a free win there in Game 2, but hey, even if they had 2-for-1'd us with the Veil, that just puts us back to parity. Our hand is still really good. I don't know. I think we're still in fine shape there. We could go to Goyf. They would probably play EE. We could decay the EE if we wanted to, or we could maybe just go on a Liliana plan. Who knows? But we'll never have to wonder or we'll never have to know. We'll never have to figure it out because we just get the win anyway. Hey, guys, it turns out Veil of Summer is totally balanced if your opponent lets it resolve. So, never mind me wanting to ban it. It's just fine. They just shouldn't cast it. They should just do the moral thing and not cast it. Anyway, tough breaks for the OP, but good games all around. And if we didn't just, lose to our own hands in round 3, game 3, we might be at a 4-0 right now. But as it is, we've cashed our first league with Kroxa, and we are playing for the 4-1. Let's get it. On the play. With a hand that we definitely keep, it's got issues, but if Fatal Push is live, then this is a bit nutty. I think we have to Inquisition T1 in the hopes that Fatal Push is live. Can also get rewarded for this simply by drawing another untapped land. Another attrition match, and one where our Fatal Pushes are not looking that good at the moment. Guess we just got to take their Inquisition. This is like the high risk, high reward line. If we fail to hit our land, and we also fail to hit other good stuff, we're just going to lose to Liliana. But we hit our land, so we're rewarded. We get to play Bob. And we get to untap with him unless they top deck removal. And even if they do, we're not getting edicted by Lily at least. So it's going to be a 1-for-1. Flagstones of Trocaire, I don't know. Okay, they drew Fatal Push. Is this, are we expecting Smallpox? We draw Lily of our own. Okay, well, now we really need to draw the 4th land for Bloodbraid Elf, because, once again, kind of losing to their Lily right now. They also need a black land, though. Or they, I guess, can do the Flagstones trick. But that'll enter tapped. Okay, another Stoneforge Mystic deck. I did say in my review of the bans that this card loves the ban decisions for a variety of reasons, and we're certainly seeing that play out here. All right, you know, I don't feel terribly optimistic right now, but anything can happen. Tilt. It's our only playable thing, so we're still going to do it. But, geez, our mana's really screwing us this time around. I considered playing a 9th fetch land to facilitate everything a little bit better. But I think it would have had to come at the expense of a Blackcleave Cliffs, so I guess we'd still be screwed either way, even if we had the 9th fetch land in here. Yeah. Okay, so obviously this really sucks. I think we're going to pitch our own Liliana, because if we draw a land to cast her, we're just going to cast Bloodbraid Elf anyway. Feels bad, man. So they've got Kaya's Guile, Batterskull, 1 unknown. Come on, untapped land. Well, it does a thing. Guess I'm just going to start pinging their Liliana with Wrenn, and this maybe prices them into ticking down. And I tapped the wrong land because I'm a little tilted. I should have left Fatal Push up. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. My bad. Yeah. If they go land Batterskull, okay, even if they go land Stoneforge, it's not great that we can't push it. Ooh, punished. I think we're pushing here. Yeah, really should have been able to push last turn and Bloodbraid this turn. Not something that I do off camera, you know. I'm a very clean player. Very clean player, pride myself on that. Every now and then when you're talking, you know, you just kind of do the wrong thing because you're talking about other stuff. It's all good. Okay, they did indeed find the 5th land for the skull. We draw Maelstrom Pulse. Beautiful draw. If only we had a fetch land to be getting value off of. Or like a, I don't know, Nurturing Peatland, something like that. But hey, Wrenn and Six still pretty important here, answering that Liliana. Oh no. Yep. So we're punished. This is I have only myself to blame here. We should have this Bloodbraid already down. Let's just top deck another one. We don't. But we can just 2 for, or like 1 for 1 the Lily plus tick down. I guess that's fine. All right. Opponent's still ahead, but we're in it. I'll cast the sword. They are a bit flooded, kind of reading them for a land in hand. Do we want to get a swing in with Raging Ravine while their GQ is tapped? I think I do, especially because we have Wrenn and Six on the field. Yeah, that's actually wonderful, so it's a fine draw, all things considered. So GQ, you imagine, is just a hedge against Tron. I thought they might also have removal. Looks like they do. But their sequencing here pretty much makes it max punishing for us, because now they get to equip Sword of Fire and Ice. Yeah, the fact that they have effectively a flash creature and a piece of removal, that was about the worst card they could have. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. But at least they don't get the trigger there, so we have a window to draw something great, and we draw land. I'm going to conceal info there. Again, I won't complain, though. If I had just not been talking so much, tapped the land correctly, we'd be in business. Maybe. I mean, who knows what the Bloodbraid Cascade hits. Maybe we're still losing to this. Anyway. But now we're falling further and further behind with every passing turn. Gideon. Yeah, okay. I guess we're just about dead. What do we need here? Kroxa? Yeah. Oops. Okay, opponent gets a Lingering Souls in the bin. Yeah, we're pretty much dead. We'll play it out for one more turn. because we can, in theory, like, escape the Kroxa. But then, like, we need to draw an answer to the sword, and then we won't have the mana to escape Kroxa, and we're just, like, losing to their clock anyway. Opponent asks, how are you liking that guy, as in Kroxa? I said, first time testing, haven't seen him a ton yet. Opponent thinks he looks badass. I agree. Yeah, we're just very dead. Maybe see a little bit more of the opponent's deck, but Lingering Souls confirmed, another Stoneblade deck. This one appears to, if I had to guess, is not on the Tidehollow Sculler plan. They're a little more value-oriented. Boom. Kill ourselves with the fetch land, go to game 2. Yeah, honestly, seeing that curve out, I don't feel as bad about my misclick, because I don't really imagine that we were beating, like, that Kaya's Guile into the Sword into the Gideon. Doesn't seem likely. So let's really think about everything that could be of use. Again, Ashiok, Grafdigger's Cage, they do some things, but they're also pretty weak to just the normal attrition plan. So I don't know that we want that. And Collector Ouphe is like a cute bear against their Stoneforge plan, but maybe not good enough overall. We're going to play Pillages on the play. I think Anger of the Gods is probably not where we want to be against the Gideon deck. Yeah, we have not seen Tidehollow. We have seen Gideon. I'm going to play no Anger. Kalitas is kind of medium here. Let's not play him. Let's play the Plague Engineer. For sure, though. And the Veil of Summer, for sure. So I want to place these 6 cards. Nihil Spellbomb is value neutral and can be good against the Lingering Souls. Everything else is an X for 1 or a flexible 1 for 1. We can consider playing probably like 1 or 2 from among these cards. I don't want to play too many of them, though. Think we gotta go down on Kroxas and Lilies against the Lingering Souls deck. Maybe 1 of each should be left in. Once again, I think cutting a Wrenn and Six is fine, because we're down to 1 Lily. Or we could play all 3 Wrenn. Just cut 2 discard spells. That's pretty good, too. So let's do that, and then do we want to side in anything cheeky? Anything cheeky like Ashiok. I'm going to play 1 Ashiok on the play. I think that's got the most free win potential, because it shuts off the fetches as well as the other things. So do we want to go down to 3 discard, or do we want to cut that Wrenn and Six? Let's be proactive on the play. Alright, I think we've got a fine matchup here, but it's probably still an uphill battle to win both post-side games, but we can do it. Let's try to. Let's see what we can do. It's a solid enough hand, I guess. We just draw lands 3 and 4 on curve, it'll be amazing. If it doesn't, we just have kind of a lot of okay stuff, right? It's just okay, but definitely got to keep this one, especially with some of our mulligan issues we've had thus far. Path, Kaya's Guile, Liliana. Just going to take the Lily here. Love to draw a Wrenn and Six. They're shocking. Oh, okay, they drew a discard spell. Yeah, that sucks. Guess they take Kolaghan's command here. Okay, still want to draw Wrenn and Six. We did leave all 3 in, right? Right. No, but we've drawn a land, which is acceptable. It would really suck to get stuck on 3 lands, though, so now we really want to hit the 4th, right? This time we'll cast the Bloodbraid on curve, hopefully. Gonna leave all of our basics in against this deck. Okay. A turn behind schedule, but still very, very nice here. Really good draw. Being able to bolt their manland is pretty good. Granted, you can bolt most manlands, but not all. And not in all circumstances. Like, even if you miss a window once, you can bolt it the next time here. It's not like the Raging Ravine. But we are certainly just going to bolt SFM here on the end step. Alright, so they played out Flagstones. They have one unknown in hand, Marsh Flats, Path, Kaya's Guile, Batterskull. We draw Kroxa. Sweet. It's Bloodbraid time, though. Yeah, whatever. I thought about playing Wooded Foothills because I would get basic forest off of it. Life total's starting to get a little low. I'm going to get one basic, but I guess concealing information's a little bit better overall. Yeah, I guess we'll trophy the vent. It's kind of a medium one, but... But it's free value, am I right? They've got kind of a problem on their hands in the form of the Wrenn ults, but right now we can't really beat Batterskull. However, we've got a ton of cards in the deck that do. Alright, they're pathing the Bloodbraid Elf, which is more great value. And now we get to, oh man, we get to cast and escape the Kroxa. We gotta exile 5 other cards from the graveyard. Okay. Ooh, oh no, we got basic forest, so we can't do it. Alright, not that big a deal, because we, I guess, kind of have to bolt Stoneforge anyway. Ooh, we draw Pillage. I like that. Let's buy back our land first. Then we're going to play Kroxa before we let them know that we're going to bolt them. So one unknown in hand, hopefully it's not a Lingering Souls. We get Sword of Fire and Ice out, sure. So if they go land hardcast the Batterskull, we get to pillage it. And unearth Kroxa. Escape Kroxa, rather, if our mana complies, which I think it will. We can use our forest to pay for this colorless here. And all the rest can make red or black, so I think it'll work. But they're not casting the skull, huh? It might have still been correct. I exiled a land just because, like, I want to keep things diverse for a Tarmogoyf. Okay. Guess opponent probably should have done that before, right? Unless they have another good plan for this. Yeah, that was a... So opponent didn't know exactly how this works. Yeah, you can't respond to it. You gotta... You can't let us have priority. They'll scoop to that. All right, Kroxa OP. Kroxa OP. And admittedly, Kroxa really was going to be OP there. We had the Wrenn to ping the Spirit. The last card's out of the opponent's hand. Even if it wasn't, we could pillage it because it's Batter Skull. So opponent misplayed, but... I mean, most decks don't play Kaya's Guile, so it's not really like, oh, Kroxa's weak to Kaya's Guile. Even so, you get value off of Kroxa before it gets there, and, you know, they had the out, they didn't manage to see exactly how it worked. That's fine, you know? You've seen me make a mistake or two here as well, so, okay, guys, we're one win away from that nice 4-1 debut. Let's try to get it. Do our incentives change drastically here on the draw? I think Ashiok gets a lot worse on the draw. But still might be fine as a one-of. I still don't know if I want a Collector Ouphe or not. I'm leaning toward not. If I look at the deck, I think everything is pretty sweet except maybe this one Liliana of the Veil, but I think we can leverage one just fine. We do want a little bit more discard on the draw, though. That's the thing. I'm going to get slightly greedy here because they are a deck that grinds very well. I don't think it's mathematically wrong to do this, but we have had land issues so far. Hopefully we don't here, but I'm going to cut a Blackcleave Cliffs for a discard spell. Just to have a higher density of action. We've got a lot of 1 and 2 drops in our deck. We're keeping all 3 Wrenn and Six in. All right. Well, either way, guys, this has been a really good league. I hope we win this final game. But I hope you are also enjoying it with me. Opponent will mulligan. We've got a hand that is slow, but it's going to be a keep with them mulling. It is a hand that's much better on the play, because we don't really interact early on. When you have a hand like this, you're cool just going jam Tarmogoyf T2, then start doing things. Fetid Heath. You've got to be kidding me. They are on Smallpox after all this? Oh my goodness. Okay, well. Sure. What do we lose? This is tough. It's either Tarmogoyf or Pillage. I think it's going to be Goyf. It's because it's soft to another Smallpox, basically. What a tilt. This deck is... this interaction is so insane. I really, really dislike it. Feel so punished for playing like a fair deck when I run into this on the play. Okay, Nihil Spellbomb. Am I supposed to just get rid of those Lingering Souls right now? Or am I supposed to try to keep it around for more value? I'm going to get rid of the souls. Judgment call. The opponent did mulligan. They've only got 3 cards in hand. We've got to hope they don't have anything too nutty. And we want to, like, catch back up. We don't want the early pressure or the defensive presence of the Lingering Souls. I mean, Smallpox against a Wrenn and Six deck, I really hope we don't lose to that. That would be pretty miserable. Let's draw Wrenn and Six, and let's just punish them for doing the Smallpox Flags of Trocaire thing. Flagstones of Trocaire, rather. Instead, we have drawn a 4th land, which overall is fine. We can pillage their Batterskull if they put one in. Dark Confidant. Next turn, we can take care of that, so we're going to take a hit from it. We're going to represent Fatal Push our Lightning Bolt, though, so if they have another sword, maybe they'll just take the more guaranteed value of Batterskull, not try to get greedy with, like, flash in a sword, equip the sword, but we remove their Stoneforge in response. That's what we don't want them to do. If they just put the Batterskull in, that's obviously still good for them, but it's kind of whatever. It's more easily handled by our deck. Now, the problem is they can return this to the owner's hand. Oh no, they have push too? Brutal. I was going to say the problem is they need to be able to interact with our Bob or hold up Batterskull. Hopefully they can't do both, but they did both without even having to untap. Alright guys, well, it just got a lot worse for us. Things just got a lot worse out here for us, and then they shock in, huh? Well, I guess so they can bounce and then put it back, right? Alright, I think we're just gonna YOLO with Bloodbraid Elf in this case. See what we draw. Yeah, Bolt Stoneforge is fine. We fall very far behind to the Batterskull, but at least we can now, in theory, answer it. Oh, they draw discard. Dang. Okay, once more, our fate will be in the hands of Bloodbraid Elf. Gideon Ally of Zendikar? Jeez, their curve out is brutal. Alright, we need Kolaghan's command off this Bloodbraid Elf. We're going to Bloodbraid and Decay command, we're going to shatter the Batter Skull, shock the Knight, attack Gideon off the field, and then win. Come on, BBE, you can do it! What do we have? Wrenn and Six. Okay. A lot worse. A lot worse. Yeah, I don't think we can really afford to attack. I'm going to play the Cliffs, and that sucks too, because it was a terrible draw, and because it doesn't conceal information, so they know our whole hand. But we just got to give ourselves the best chance of not drawing next turn, and somehow winning. Alright, so they identify the right line, which is turn them all sideways, which means we are priced into the trade and the chump block, which is horrible. We draw Dark Confidant. Great. Yeah, I guess we're dead. Really nothing we can have. We kind of needed to, have a kill spell for Gideon and then find another one off Peatland. Even if we find the right stuff here. So, yeah, okay. Well. So this was a good league. It was a good league, but boy, did we get unlucky in places against these attrition decks. I don't know that we deserved the loss this time. I don't know that we deserve the loss this time around. I think the opponent left more lines on the table than we did, or a more important one with the Kroxa, but as always, guys, it's hard for me to really evaluate my own play perfectly while I am commentating, so you can let me know if you think we had other better lines here in this final round. But, yeah, I mean, Smallpox, Flagstones of Trocare, on the play against our deck is just brutal. It's just brutal. And Smallpox, again, should it be in against a Wrenn and Six? I don't know. You guys can tell me. Maybe on the play. But it seems like that's something that can hurt them more than us very easily, especially when they're playing really high curve stuff like Gideon and Batterskull, and a lot of 3-drops. So I'm not trying to complain. I just do feel slightly tilted at losing to specifically that. But the overall, the gameplay against the Black-White Stoneblade decks, the Deadguy Ale, hey, I think that deck's super cool. It can be pretty swingy. It can be pretty top deck dependent, like a lot of BG black-based mid-range mirrors are. But it is less so than a strict BGX mirror because we have fewer overlapping cards, right? So with BGX mirrors, they're a lot more out of your hands. That one, there's a lot of give and take, a lot of interesting play. We never really saw our primo progressions with Kolaghan's command blowing them out, things like that. I think we can really handle those decks a lot better than we saw here today. That's what we lost to. We beat the Jund mirror, we beat the Urza deck, and what the heck else did we beat? I don't even remember. But we lost to 2 Lingering Souls Stoneblade decks. I think that's a totally fine sign, because my particular 75 isn't configured to beat them at all. I'm configured to beat big mana and to have a lot of reach into other matchups like the Urza matchup. But, if these Lingering Souls Deadguy Ale decks start to become a real issue, we can go back to the third Kolaghan's Command. We can maybe go up to a second Veil of Summer. Smallpox is a whole nother bear. Let's not even touch that. I don't think that's going to be the most viable way to go, but maybe it is. We can play a second copy of Plague Engineer to blow out the souls. We've got tools, right? We've got tools. But anyway, it felt like we had a lot of like our main deck could see a couple changes, or our sideboard could see a couple changes if that becomes a deck to beat. No problem. And we'll shore up that matchup too. But anyway, guys, Kroxa actually looked pretty good here. We didn't see him all that much. We didn't see optimal matchups for him either. But when he was around, he was, I think, very effective because that disruption on curve, that's why I like him. You find your spot for him. Yes, it's not usually going to be better on turn 2 than Tarmogoyf, but that's not what he's competing with. He's competing with Skooz on turn 2. And I don't know. I think most of the time it's going to be better. Granted, Skooz could do a little work against the Lingering Souls, but even in these matchups, I don't think Skooz would have turned the tide at all. Do you? I don't think so. I think Kroxa was mostly better at helping grind out those black-white decks. And then we've got to beat the Souls other ways. We've got to beat the Stoneblade package other ways. Yeah, those can go either way. We didn't get him this time, but we debut with a strong positive league. I think it was 5 entertaining matches, I hope, and I hope you all enjoyed it as well. And you can let me know how your own Jund adventures are going, with or without Kroxa, and generally what you'd like to share about the meta, because the meta's wide open. We faced a lot of fair decks here, but as I mentioned earlier, my other league I've played since the bans was with Prowess, and we were against double Yawgmoth, double Urza, and green Tron. So yeah, it's all over the place. You gotta come prepared for everything. That's not where a deck like Jund thrives, really. But all things considered, I think the signs are very, very good for us. And as the meta clarifies, we're going to get even better. So thank you so much for watching, my friends. If you enjoy this content, I am committed to bringing it to you as much as my schedule allows for. I'm a very busy guy, but the more support I get, the more I can justify taking time away from family stuff to be on the computer jamming here with you. So shout out once again to the new patrons. Luke Isaac is the returning tireless tier patron. We've got brand new Patreon supporters. Inquisitor Simon Grundon, former Inquisitor promoted to Confidant Romain Parasoni, and of the Veil tier supporter Nick Hernandez. Hope I got all your names correct, guys, and I hope I continue earning your patronage and the patronage of all the other supporters out there. Stay tuned to the channel, guys. This is not the last time we're junding them out in the near future. Far from it. I also want to play some Plague Rock for you. We're going to play 4 Plague Man main deck in BG the Rock. Maybe a main deck Shadow Spear as well, so we can see this card a little bit more and really come tuned to destroy the aggro decks, and then hope that our 2-color mana base gives us leverage against burn and against big mana. If we run into a lot of Stoneblade decks, though, we might be in trouble, so maybe we'll have to pack more answers to that. Although Plague Man will blow out the souls. But anyway, we're going to do all that soon. If you're interested in donation leagues, message me. We've got some of those coming down the pipeline, kind of at all times. And we're going to jam some Prowess as well. Finally, we are going to dip into mono black of some variety in Pioneer. So lots to do ahead, and I hope you will stay with me for the whole of it. Let me know, as always, what you think about the list, and let's try to make Jund perfect going forward. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Hope everybody out there has a wonderful day.